Hey, we're live doing a Saturday night stream rather than a Sunday night stream due to traveling arrangements that needed to be made for tomorrow. But we're going to try out something a little bit different tonight. We're going away from Boros completely and playing a mono red list. Somewhat similar, but also different from M. Hayashi's builds. We're going more towards a burn aspect, so we're not playing as much of the mid-range threats. But we are taking some ideas from the deck he plays, as well as some of the ideas from the Pioneer deck, and seeing how they would mesh in a modern format when you're playing mono red burn as opposed to Boros variants. Obviously, with loss of Boros, you lose a lot of your sideboard cards. You lose access to things like Sanctifier out of the sideboard, Boros, Charm, and Lightning Helix in the main deck, and the replacements are not all that great in a mono red version. You get to play things like Flame Rift, kind of replacing Boros Charm. Not as functional, obviously can be problematic in racing situations, but still very powerful card that sees play in Legacy, along with Price of Progress and Fire Blast. And then beyond that, we cut back on lands a little bit, but we are running 4 copies of Spikefield Hazard. Now, obviously, the lane coming to play tapped can be a little bit awkward, and we'll see how often that comes up. But this did allow us to reduce our land base down to 16 lands without having to pick up any of the expensive dual land or expensive mono red lands that his list likes to play, like Den of the Bugbear or Crucible of Defiance. And then the other card we chose to pick up was Kumano Faces Kakuzan. This is a card that's a saga, so it comes down, deals 1 damage, then on turn 2, if you happen to cast a creature, get the +1/+1 counter, and then for the third one, it turns into a 2/2 hasty creature that if a creature dealt damage this turn would die, instead you exile it. So, figure we would try something a little bit different this time, just to keep things a little bit interesting. And sideboard, we get to play, the main thing we get to play is Blood Moon, obviously being in the mono red version. Thanks, Stumpy Wire, appreciate that. But we get to play Blood Moon. We'll see how often this comes up. I know M. Hayashi loves it in his various different builds, although he's running Megas. So, and then we get to run Flame Slash in place of something like Path to Exile and such. Not the best replacement for Path or anything, but still the best we can manage in a red deck outside of playing something like Unholy Heat. And we just don't really fill up the graveyard that well. So, I appreciate that, Stompy. I try to work on those deck techs as well as I can to give people ideas about the format. But that said, this is what we're rolling with in Mono Red Burn tonight, and we'll see how it goes. Here for match number 1 against Darth Kid, somebody who I used to play against all the time, but I don't remember what they were ever on. This hand's awkward, but fine. Question is, do I play... No, I think are we on the play or on the draw? We're on the play. So I think we're going to lead on Kumano, and then potentially play Spikefield Hazard as a land on 2. This is where Spikefield Hazard can be a little bit awkward. Part of me has never understood why in Legacy they never play fetches. I mean, I know Stifle is a card, but it just seems like, being able to play something like Searing Blaze over Searing Blood would just be important. But, a lot of the mono red decks don't seem to play fetches. So, maybe it's just the Boros player in me that always wants to have access to my fetches, or just prefer Searing Blaze. So, would not be surprised if our opponent's double queuing. If I remember correctly, they tended to double queue a lot. Not in Legacy, they don't. Would love to draw a second land here that doesn't come into play tapped. Looks like we're up against Murktide to start out with. Oh, so we're up against Living End. Interesting. Fortunately, we don't have any graveyard hate, but we do have Roiling Vortex and potentially Blood Moon. So our opponent takes some amount of damage here. Okay, so we're going to be one short, it looks like. Is there any weirdness in their list? We have Subtleties main deck. Could have Force of Negation quite easily in their hand, which is fine-ish. Might be hard to beat Double Force. Question becomes, do you have Triple Force? Do I know of any binders that could hold up to 300 to 400 cards? Most of the trading card binders should be able to hold that number of cards quite easily. Unless you want a decorative one or something. Yeah, what the heck. You have a Force of Negation? You do not. were we on the play or the draw? We were on the play of this game, so. Alright. 4 Roiling Vortex in. 4 Searing Blaze out. Blood Moon might be okay on the draw. On the play, I don't think it's really worth it. So our opponent could easily be on Leyline. Is that worth bringing in Blood Moon over some of the other nonsense? Maybe. Board in a couple Blood Moons and then maybe go down a couple of Rift Bolts. Try it like that. Don't think we can keep the 1 tap lander. Still. This hand's reasonable. Put back Bolt and one of the Flame Rifts, I guess. Is on Painless Land, good for them. What actually does more damage? So Spear gets in for 1, and then 2. Is the damage the same either way? I think the damage might have been greater the other way. Okay, so opponent will have 12 power if they're able to call it next turn. Looks like they might be missing a 3rd land drop. See if they have a force of negation for this. They're digging for 1. Okay. And then alright, well, being on the draw kind of bit us a little bit that game, but still think we want to play around our opponent having Leyline a little bit. Maybe go like that. Alright. Sand seems fine. We'll put back Skewer the Critics. Okay, so this does one. Yeah, I think that's actually correct to do it that way. We really should do the math on the exact calculations, that kind of stuff. Actually consider, I was going to say, are they actually considering forcing negating that? Doesn't seem right. Probably should have played this out last turn. The force of negation would certainly be a thing. Well, it gets to hit us for 10. Alright, we lose, unfortunately. Of course, Magic Online doesn't want to let us draw the next card. Definitely keep. I say, does our opponent have a Solitude or something? Okay, shock in with an Overgrown Tomb into Noble Hierarch. So we're up against Yogg, it looks like. Ah, we're actually up against Infect. That's moderately terrifying. So we could just be dead here. Phyrexian Crusader is a terrifying magic card for a red deck. Flame Rift. And you're dead, my friend. So, Infect. Blood Moon, another card we could be interested in. I could bring these in. Probably go Flame Rifts out on the draw. Could be some reason to bring in like 2 Blood Moons over. I don't even know, a couple Lava Spikes. Hand's perfectly fine. We have early interaction or early pressure, whichever way we look at it. I think we do want to bolt the bird, so to speak. Double Glistener Elf. So what are the odds here that we're dead? Play Swift Spear. Suspend Rough Bolt and pass. Tending to block with the Swift Spear. Yeah, Crusader is utterly terrifying. Merciful Spear will be doing exactly nothing the rest of the game. With that Crusader in the way. Go ahead and do that. Let's kill your Glistener Elf. And then play Kamano faces Kakuzan. And hope we're not dead to the Crusader. Have the green light. If you can kill us, you can kill us. Apparently that answer is no. Alright, so... Yep. Is more likely to be lethal here. Searing Blaze, Ignoble Hierarch, and it could potentially get protected. Play Lava Spike, puts you to 3. Only 1 damage gets through. So I think we're supposed to go for the more of the I kill you plan. Force you to chump block with the Ignoble. If you use a pump spell, you use a pump spell. Obviously they have a free block here. It's just a matter of which one of these two creatures they block next turn. So block here, go to 2. So we still need to top deck either a land or some type of relevant damage spell to kill them even next turn. Okay, so Spirit dies at the end of turn. Ink Moth doesn't change the math of whatever they would have had last turn. Once again, doesn't really change the math, but so you just get to activate Inkmoth Nexus, pump it with Pendlehaven. Yeah, it's been a weird league, War Dog. We lost to Blue Living End, and then we run into Green Black. Well, three color Infect, Sultai Infect. They might have access to Blighted Agent. Okay, am I dead? So 4. Take lethal infect damage. Alright, bring the third Blood Moon on the play. Try like that. Alright, this hand could be perfectly interesting. This could be a random game where Blood Moon just gets him. How you doing tonight, War Dog, by the way? That the Vastwood. Terrifying magic card. Okay, sure. That's gonna die. Blossoming Defense, sure. Okay, so they have access to 1 green or 1 black mana per turn. You know they have a mutagenic growth, so that's something we're going to have to play around. That's unfortunate. Okay. Should have played Eidolon pre-combat. They're going to get to use a Mutagenic Oath for free. That should have otherwise cost them quite a bit of life here. Yeah, most things are going fairly well. The one thing that was kind of a headache is finally being resolved in the car, so... Alright, and our opponent scoops the combination of Eidolon plus Blood Moon. Alright, we're back for match number 3. Look at one of those weird hands that I figured out when we were talking about Spikefield Hazard, but I do think this is a keep overall. Opponent is on Tron. Well... depends on what version of Tron they're on. Yeah, I've been told that in many different forms. Eldrazi Tron is a deck that has been slowly making a comeback, and it's been kind of annoying. Ready for an incoming Thought-Knot Seer. Thought-Knot Seer incoming. Question is, what do they take here? Flame Rift's like one of the worst cards. Eidolon's not particularly good. I think you take Searing Blaze or Bolt here. Blaze is the best deck, top deck if we happen to draw a land. And what did they take? They took Eidolon. That's a weird one. Oh, I'm testing it. I have no idea. It makes sequencing a little bit awkward. But I'm also only basically playing 16 lands with 4 Spikefield Hazard as the other 4, so we're testing a lot of things that are probably subpar even for mono red burn. A lot of it is because I just don't have the budget right now to get the like cards you'd want to play like Den of the Bugbear and such for like a true mono red deck. So instead of the Bugbears, actually, I think alone were worth more than even the entire Boros deck, or it's pretty close. Magic Online has some weird pricing things. Yeah, Den of the Bugbear is literally more than an entire Boros burn deck. That's what they're spending their mana on this turn. I think I'm cool with that. Although Chalice on one would be a pain in the butt here. Yep. So they get nothing off their Matter Reshaper. But, well, it depends on what their follow-up is here now that they have access to all this mana and Tron. Moving the Inevitable. Okay. Do you kill something or make a blocker? So Ugin makes their spells cheaper, so this could be another Thought-Knot Seer. But I think that if they had a Thought-Knot Seer, they would have played it last turn. So they would have had to top deck it this turn. Okay, make a dude, sure. Of course they have a Thought-Knot. Take our Flame Roof since we can't cast the Chalice. Who's Nick, War Dog? One of your friend? One of your... Why would you take the spell I can't cast? That makes absolutely no sense. We take the risk that they can kill both of our kimonos here. May just aid them in killing us if they have like Smasher or... Okay, sure. So they have Smasher and we're dead. So we would be at 12, chump blocking, we would still be dead regardless, wouldn't we? So, opponent played us. It happens. Would we have been dead next turn? Might have been a draw, actually, but... Alright, so we want Blood Moons. Basically, we want everything but Roiling Vortex, it seems. Flame Slash. We can go down. Lava Spikes. Eidolons aren't the best in this style of matchup. And then Searing Blaze is fairly middling. Gotcha. Is he high on it in Modern or in Pioneer? Because it seems to be more of a Pioneer card. Alright, seems perfectly fine, especially if we find a third land for Blood Moon in a timely fashion. Opponent has a swamp. That is unfortunate. Okay, get that out of the way. Hopefully they don't have a land off of this. Now they get a ballista they'll put in their hand, which is fine. Omnath Seer, which they won't be able to cast. Push it to 4. Did I go land card or did I go land ballista? Feels like ballista. Which is fine. I'll just trade with Goblin Guide. So all this is going to do is they're going to block one, shoot the other, I guess. Okay. Means they take no damage this turn, but they also won't have anything on board. I mean, if you're playing mono red burn, it makes some sense as you have a little bit of room to play with. But, you know, could just be better to be playing like Skullcrack or some other random thing. It does make sequencing rather tricky sometimes, so there is that. Certain Blaze. Well, I mean, not the most exciting hand, but does have Blood Moon, so I guess we keep. Better off suspending Rift Bolt or casting Lightning Bolt this turn cycle. Probably casting Lightning Bolt. Could easily get hit with a Thought-Knot Seer here, so we may just lose because we're on the draw. Take my 3 and link it. Opponent's got a swamp. See if they do not block. Okay. Spin the Rift Bolt and pass. See if they just plan on keep using mana here. If they're gonna pump the Ballista, we may just smash it in response. Karn, sure. Okay. So they block and trade here. Okay, what do you go get here? Coil, sure. And Flame Roof for the win. Nice. What's up then? Alright, take a look at this hand. I think we're fine. Sequencing is going to be a little bit weird, but not sure the Spikefield Hazard is worth the issues so far. Omnath. Okay. Omnath versus... Okay, so we're up against Glimpse combo. Got it. Okay. Risen Reef down to 7. So we just get to do it all this turn. All right. Shardless. Been a minute since I've seen these elemental variants of the deck, so I know they exist, I just don't know what all they have access to. Looks like about the right one. Who are we up against? We're up against Monies. Do they have a notable finish with the deck? What did I see? Brazen Borrowers, Dead Gods, Foundation Breakers, Subtleties. So Blood Moon's good. Roiling Vortex is probably decent. Flame Slashes are okay. Flame Rifts can go out. Probably a Lava Spike out matchup. And Eidolon is like only good on turn 3 roughly. I need to shade one more. Rift Bolt. Two lands and a fairly aggressive hand. Pretty sure we keep this. Do they play Subtlety in their list? They do not. He gets to play a Colony Guard next turn. Okay. See if they go ahead and choose to chump block here. We draw a Cavern off of the Goblin Guide. Likely we're getting Glimpse next turn, so let's punish them as much as possible. Presuming they just don't have a Fury before they go off. Yeah, kind of screwed up the sequencing on that, friend. So you're going to get the extra permanent, but you should have evoked first. Okay, Omnath, gain some life, do some stuff, so we get to lose. We lose anyway. One, two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We tried. Come on, Blood Moon. This hand just doesn't do anything. This hand's alright, not super exciting. I play a Leyline to boot. Oh no, they're mulliganing as well. Do they fetch basics as curiosity? They do not. Play Wave Skipper this turn to get extra tokens. And they have Fury to boot. Cool. Human. Okay. That gets a bunch of triggers. Nice. 3-1 start with Mono Red Burn. Back here for the 5th match. On the play, which is always nice. Opponent is an 80 card pile, so Irion. This hand's decent for a burn start. Alright, so it looks like we're up against good old 4-color control, maybe 4-color. Okay, shock themselves, sure. Goblin Guide, attack. See if we can draw out some type of... Hopefully they don't have Fury. It's a lot less common in those type of lists. Okay. Part could be on ephemerate, whatchamacallit here, so we're just gonna wonder if I'm about to get to ferried. Apparently not. So we still don't know what version of 4-color they're on, so we'll bring in the vortexes, we'll bring in blood moons. Since probably 2018, that's been my primary deck. Cards are not good in this matchup. Vortex is fine. Blood Moon's fine, although not always great. Flame Slash deals with Omnath, which could be relevant. Searing Blaze has some, but not a ton of targets, so it's kind of like this weird dance. We need, if they're on the Reservoir version, obviously Searing Blaze gets much better. If they're on the Counterspell version, that becomes much worse. We did see they were playing Eternal Witness, which doesn't necessarily show anything. How much creature removal is too much creature removal? Get Rift Bolts out of there because they do play Teferi Time Raveler, and it's not as nice with our Roiling Vortexes. If we would have seen Cavern or Risen Reef, we would have a much better gauge as to what they're on. Shave one of those and shave Flame Rifts, I guess. Well, if we could guarantee that we would draw lands, this hand is excellent. We only run 16 actual lands, so I don't know that I can keep this hand, but I guess I'm gonna draw, we'll try it. Especially since our opponent's mulliganing very, very aggressively. So maybe they have Leyline or something. We're kind of helping them undo their mulligan, unfortunately. Curious if they play around Blood Moon, though. Looks like they might actually play around Blood Moon a little bit. We have the Seiju here. Nope, Eldamari's Call. What are you Eldamari's calling for? So they fetched away the Solitude. Do really want to draw a basic land here. So they are on the elemental version. Question is, do they run out Omnath next turn without a way to protect it? Okay, Risen Reef, sure. So if they don't block, they're dead. Can I kill them this turn? Guess we'll put them to the test, see if they want to block. Trigger, trigger. Presume they block here, right? Yeah. So now they can Omnath, but they can't gain life. What's more important? Preventing them from gaining life. Yeah, I think preventing them from gaining life is more important. if Luster Storm they get us, and they do not. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. So, a couple takeaways from this league. Blood Moon obviously overperformed, but some of the other stuff, Flame Rift's a fine replacement for Boros Charm in some spots. Kamano, I'm not really sure how I feel about it. Spike Field Hazard had its moments, although I think I'd rather be on 18 or 19 lands maybe and run like 2 Spike Field Hazards, so we're a little less hit by the tap lands at points while still having some modal phase cards and lands, so it doesn't feel like we're flooding out as much. I don't know if we want to run like a Fiery Islet or something, but I feel like this version might have some legs. It's not quite Hayashi Red, but at the same time, it's not Boros Burn. It has a little bit of different play to it. And, maybe we've been trapped in the Boros is the correct shell for too long and not really experimenting with enough things. Now I know I've done some crazy things over time. I've played Gruul Burn with Klothys. I've played Teamer Burn with Oko. I've played some Rakdos Burn every now and again. So I've done some off-the-wall things as far as like stretching out what Burn is capable of. This version feels like it might have a little bit of iterating that can happen to it. So, yeah. Might be worth exploring again next week's stream, which should be hopefully back on Sunday with everything going on next weekend. But yeah, should be next Sunday evening. And we might do a little bit more experimenting with this mono red version. Seems like it's got some legs to it. So, well, thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Once again, there will be no stream tomorrow night as I will be traveling back to my parents' house for some stuff with a car-related thing. So we won't be on streaming tomorrow night, but wanted to get this in and see how it did. It actually felt, despite the fact that we lost to what's generally been a favorable matchup for Burn with Living End, our opponent played very well. They beat us by a couple points of damage. And, but we still managed to pull out the 4-1. Played against Eldrazi Tron. We played against Sultai Infect. We played against Blue Living End. 4-color Elementals. And we also played against Glenn's combo Elementals. So, interesting spread of decks. Once again, the weekend evenings seem to have all the oddball decks coming back out. So, but Blood Moon definitely overperformed. And I really think this is a shell worth exploring a little bit more. So hopefully you enjoyed this, and if you want to check out the VOD for this, it should be up in a couple of days on MTG Nexus VODs, as I moved all of the new Burn content that's going to be coming out there, and the main Modern channel is going to be dedicated to the deck guides and stuff that we've been doing. So hopefully we'll see you for the next stream next Sunday evening, and as always, thanks for tuning in. This has been John for MTG Nexus. See ya on the flip side.